It's not really solving our problem, because we have geothermal energy, which I consider to be that of a firm power, which we've already passed a bill.
Senator Malama Solomon released a letter sent to the Public Utilities Commission and Boston Pacific Company Incorporated, questioning the delay in awarding a contract for the development of a 50-megawatt geothermal project on Hawaii Island. Solomon has been hard on the Hawaii Electric Light Company Incorporated for the power company's approach to renewable energy.
In other words, we've been pushing you the whole time politically to make it happen. So my thoughts are maybe we need to push you some more.
Solomon has been a vocal supporter of geothermal development on Hawaii Island. She and Mililani Trask, who represents a company hoping to win that delayed HELCO contract, have been hounding the utility for answers for years.
Will Ormat and HELCO sit down with Senator Solomon on the first 30 megawatts and bring the price down for us?
Solomon says in her letter that HECO is intent on delaying and or preventing geothermal development on Hawaii Island. She says the recent request for proposals that was put out for 50 new megawatts of geothermal power was, quote, a confused mess that did not conform to industry standards, and that it required information from bidders based on data that HECO failed to provide. Solomon went on to say that industry experts have claimed that the request for proposals, or RFP, contain unrealistic operating requirements, making it impossible for bidders to advance pricing structures that would benefit the ratepayer and make it economically feasible for a developer. Solomon also requested information on the qualifications and experience of Boston Pacific Company Incorporated, the independent observer, claiming a lack of notable hands-on experience in geothermal energy production and transmission. HELCO has not said much about the delay in the RFP. For one thing, there was a great deal of public opposition, as exemplified in this march on HELCO last year.
Jay's accepting our petition.
Where is it?
Thank you.
I got your petition, and I met with Bob and Mr. Sparks, and we got some good information. We got better insight as to your concerns. We're gonna continue to work with your alliance to see if we can come to a good resolution. So
it doesn't sound like he's going to withdraw the contract, but we asked him to consider a moratorium, and I think he is going to think about that, and we're going to talk about that some more. So hopefully we can get at least a moratorium on the RFP until the health study is completed.
We spoke to Ignacio afterwards.
they had expressed a desire to put a moratorium on the RFP, to delay the RFP until the results of that. And I kind of asked if could we do it in parallel, still address the concerns in the Adler effort in parallel with proceeding with the development, but we didn't come to any conclusion on that.
Recently, Life of the Lands, Henry Curtis, provided some insight on the matter.
They got a number of responses, but the PUC, the Public Utilities Commissions, noted that that the Big Island has already way exceeded its renewable portfolio standard requirement, and therefore only makes sense under current law to add more renewables if they can beat the existing price. And HELCO came to the conclusion that none of the bidders met the criteria that they could actually lower rates.
Solomon questioned HECO's criticism of the price structure for ratepayers offered by the geothermal bidders when HECO and the PUC have recently approved an agreement with Honua Bioenergy LLC, setting rates as high as $253 per megawatt hour. Solomon asked whether the bids tendered for the geothermal RFP were lower or higher than this figure, and by how much.
So
I'm inclined.
our view is Honua then allows us to turn off our oil units. So to us, that's a really good project.
I agree I'm a very strong supporter of biomass.
Okay, second one is that's why the 50 megawatt geothermal bid, because it would give us hopefully more of that low cost geothermal energy. But at some point, Senator, and we're going to face this on your island before anybody else, is what do we do when we get low cost renewables like geothermal and we have lots of higher cost renewables on the system? Because as you saw from the chart, the next thing that happens on the Big Island is not a fight between oil and renewables, it's between renewables.